So you might have seen in other languages, right? There are certain variables. We declare some variables. If you remember, int, you give a variable name and then is equal to followed by a certain value. Okay, that is how you declare and initialize a variable in C programming language. So when you're doing that, you're saying int x is equal to 25. So what you're trying to say here is the integer data type is assigned to it and the variable name is x, and that is storing a data of integer type. Okay, so ultimately these variables are nothing but related to storage of certain data. Okay, in the same way, let's understand what this data is. Okay, now data is nothing but it is a raw, unprocessed and unorganized. Okay, so when it means is, now suppose you are working on a word, ms word or microsoft word, and you type certain keystrokes. Okay, so now you type like a b c x y z y and something. Okay, some words or skillsam, worksam, or anything that you type over there, that will show up on your ms word. Now these keystrokes are of alphanumeric characters, and this also is a data. Okay, and even your images. Okay, the images that you upload to a lot of your social media platforms is also data. Okay, and also there are numbers, alphabets, audio, video, all these forms part of the data. So that is the reason whenever you are saying data, it is a pure raw, unprocessed and unorganized. So whenever we say when the data becomes unraw or processed or organized, then it becomes information. Okay, so when we do the opposite of what is written here, okay, so if it is raw, it is not raw. Okay, and now it is unprocessed, so now suppose you make it processed, and if it is not organized, which means it is very much organized, so in that case the data will become information. Let's see what it is. So for now, just understand data is a raw, unprocessed, unorganized facts and statistics stored in a I mean, it is stored on your anything. I mean, it might be on your paper, or it might be on your electronic storage, or it might be on some other data storage over the network. So all that forms a part of the data. So now data appears in different formats. Like I said, it might be a text or alphabets, small letters, capital letters, or special characters. All that are forms of the data, and there might be a numbers, there might be images, it might be audio, video files. All these forms part of the data. Okay, and whenever a data is collected, stored and used for analysis, processing and decision making. Now we'll see how that is utilized in creating what is known as information. Now, at the same time, data can be structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. Okay. So whenever you say a data is structured, which is means there is a specific format to it, like tables. Okay. Like it has a row, it has a column, like the way it is stored in a database. All right. So that is a structured data. Structured data is organized in a specific format, such as tables in a relational database. We'll understand what relational database and what is uh, what goes into it and everything. And also there are other different kinds of database, hierarchical database. Again, there is also no sql database. We'll try to see what those are, but now understand that the data can be structured, semi-structured or unstructured. And whenever it is says semi-structured, means it contains some structure to it but not complete. Okay, and unstructured, as the name itself suggests, it does not have any structure or any format. Okay, often like for example in the structured data, right, like for example if it is stored in a rows and columns, you are able to find whether that elements exist in that column or not, whether there is some search or the search key that you are trying to search in that table. You can say in a simple excel sheet, if you have put that into a rows and columns, then you can say control F and find a particular field or a value that you're searching for. So the search becomes very easy in structured data, whereas in unstructured data, the searching and analyzing is very difficult. All right, because there is no proper format associated with the data that is being stored. Okay, it is jumbled, or it is thrown like a set of alphanumeric characters here and there. Okay. Now, what are the different ways that you can collect the data? So the data can be collected in different formats, right? So every day, if you see, let's concentrate very particularly on the electronic or digital world now. Okay. Now, in the digital world, we have a lot of things that we are associated and handling day-to-day activities. Like, for example, you operate a TV, okay, or television with a remote. All right, and there are certain keystrokes that you hit on the remote, and it results into the TV being switch on, change the channels, increase the volume, decrease the volume. All that is interacting with the TV involves certain data transfer from your remote to TV and back from TV to your remote. Okay, because there are sensors involved. All right, so how can you generate a data in a real world? There are a lot of sensors involved. There is a lot of in your mobile phones, there is a interact that you do with a lot of social media sites. All right, you create a login, you create a password, you upload certain videos, like a video, or delete a image, or dislike a image, something like that. You interact and you generate that user data. Okay, that is still a data. And also e-commerce transactions, like for example, you have a Flipkart or a Amazon app installed on your device or a mobile device. Suppose you want to buy a good t-shirt of Adidas brand, say, for example. Now, what you have entered, you have searched for a brand, okay, and that has created a search data. And second, you have selected a particular item which has shown that you have selected some color as black color as a t-shirt. So color of the t-shirt is also a data, and what format or the type of the t-shirt, whether it is a collared or it is a round neck or whatever, that kind of a t-shirt, or a polo t-shirt. So those kind of a different format of the t-shirt is also a data. Okay, and the size that you select, medium, small, extra large, or large, so that also is a data that you are generating on an e-commerce sites. Okay, this all is related to a data. When it is only about, it's not just only about you that you are generating. There are n number of users that they use those particular e-commerce sites, and they generate the lots of data day in and day out, every single moment in time. Okay, so the generation of data is wide. Okay, it's a wide range of sources that you can get data from, even simple meteorological sites. Okay, some, for example, if you talk about let's say, if you talk about a site, or some NASA or the ISRO sends up some meteorological aircraft, or also for example satellite, and that generates a weather data. Okay, and that data is generated very frequently, and in seconds it is going keep on updating. So that generates a lot of data related to the air pressure, purity of the air, weather conditions, temperature, high, minimum, low, what kind of a weather it is. It is a cloudy, windy, or whether it is a sunny, bright sunny, and all that data is generated because of that weather measurements. Okay, so that is again a sense of data. So what I'm trying to give you is the data is generated in and out throughout the devices that you handle day to day. Okay, so that is the whole essence of how you are generating a data. And data can also be a variety of purposes. Okay, it can also be used for variety of purposes, such as gaining insights. Like for example, I took an example of you logging into Amazon e-commerce sites and trying to find a brand of t-shirt, and that itself will give a insight or some data insights related to the customer buying habits. Okay, so between the age group of so and so, these are the and the user is male, then they are more prone to buying this particular t-shirts during this period of the year. Okay, those are the valuable data insights that e-commerce sites gets. Based on that insights, they can study about the customer behavior. Okay, so based on the customer behavior, they can increase the sales of the particular product by directing you only to buy those kind of products here on. Okay, so that kind of getting more insights about the customer behavior is also achieved because of this data. That is one of the key purposes of utilizing the data of the users in order to gain business insights. Okay. And also, like developing new products and services. Suppose you want to survey a particular market or a geography, and you collect the data from the users saying, hey, like for example, if you are launching a certain FMCG product, okay, fast moving consumer goods, maybe washing powder, and you want to give out a certain sample in a certain geography and test the user responses, and you collect the responses from the user, like, hey, did you like this product? If the user says yes, note down that user input survey. Okay. And also, if are you willing to buy it again, then the response, based on the response you get, what kind of a feedback that you are trying to get from the user, that will help you to launch new products and services. That is again a big usage of the data. Okay. So at the same time, data, like I said, data is more of a plural form. A datum is a singular form of that. Like every instance of the data, you can say it as a single unit of data is called datum. Okay, that is what you need to understand about it. Like suppose you are considering, if you want to collect a data on the customer purchases, then each purchase will be a datum. Okay, like every purchase would call it as a single instance of that data, or a single unit of data or the information, that is called a datum. Okay, nothing fancy about it, it's just a singular form. Data is more of a plural in nature. Datum is a singular or a single unit of information. Now, as you know, data can be measured in terms of bits and bytes in electronic format. Okay, like for example, if you say, as you know, we have seen in our fundamental sessions of computers, where we say bits and bytes, right? The basic units of information is called bits and bytes. Now you say KB, MB, GB, TB, and all that are related to the units of measurements. And every data, whether it might be a text, whether it might be a audio, video, or any format of the data, they are measured in terms of bits and bytes, like the way solid items that we measure in terms of kilograms, right? And at the same time, if it is a liquid format, we say liters or gallons. In the same way, the data is measured in terms of bits and bytes. All right. So now, understand this, like what is this type of the data? We are just trying to show you pictorially, like every different vertical or different format or the sections of the usage, like for example, transport department or transport section, or geography. Okay, location and all related to the geographical location, cultural location, scientific data, and financial data in terms of stock exchanges, banking, insurance, all that falls under every field around us will generate a type of different types of data. Okay, like meteorological, like we were talking about weather and other related, right? These are generated by meteorological section of the world that generates this kind of data. So as we see here, it is just not related only about the computer, and computer related information will produce the data. No. So the data is produced by every walk of life, is produced by every a thing that you see around yourself. Like nature produces the data, like different kinds of plants and vegetations and flora and fauna, animals and species, and all their activities, their medicines, their related medicines, and how they generate over the period of time, how they multiply, and what is their population. Everything is generating a certain amount of data related to its own field. All right. So that is the reason that data is the new gold. Usually what they are saying these days, or it's been there for a long time, like couple of decades now, what they say is gold. The data is the new gold. Okay, it's like gold. If you know, if you have the data and generate the data, people buy and sell the data. Okay, you might have seen many hackers these days, right? Because of the cryptocurrency and all that, many of the crypto information is hacked by the users. It is nothing but data. Okay, you have a key associated with every crypto login, and they generate a key, and some people hack that data, and obviously they hack their amount. Okay. So, and also you might have seen many apps have been hacked, and a lot of the user information or the data is being thrown in the black internet. Okay. So where you can buy and sell those kind of data, and that is not legal, but mind you. Okay, that is illegal to do so. But yeah, things happen this way. They are happening right as we speak. All right. So the data is that kind of importance that we have these days. All right, understood, guys, so far what we are talking about data.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now let's take a bit further and try to understand what is information. So now we understood that data is raw, unprocessed, and unorganized. Now, if we make that data to be processed, organized, and very much structured, then we say that data as information. Like for example, let's just see this. Now I have this keystrokes. Okay, I'll say Ravi Kumar, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, React JS, 3 year front end, Google, Hyderabad, India. So if I give this on a simple plain text format, you will be able to not able to comprehend what this text is all about. Okay, it is a simple keystrokes, alphanumeric characters, and they have a small and capital letters. All right. So, but when you understand that when you make them more organized and structured, put that in a tabular format, assign some header to it, and now if you see, this makes more sense to you. Okay, now you are seeing that first name is Ravi, last name is Kumar, then skills, the Ravi Kumar has got these many skills. Okay, these are the technology skills: JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and React JS. Okay, and then he or she has an experience. Ravi Kumar has an experience of 3 years. Designation is front end developer. Company is Google. The city he resides is in Hyderabad, and country is India. So now, if you just understand, this is a raw data. Okay, it doesn't make sense if someone gives it to you. It becomes very hard to comprehend. It is raw. It is unprocessed, unorganized, unstructured. But the moment you put that in a tabular format, this is one of the way you organize the data. This is not the only way. Okay, you can put that in .csv format, or you can put that into a JSON format or XML format. So there are different formats you can utilize them and put to make it more intelligible or meaningful to the users. Now this now you have a raw data, you make it processed, and you make it organized and a lot of structured in a tabular format. Now this becomes an information. Now you can add multiple users under it and create a table that contains a user information. Okay, now did you understand how the data can be different from an information? All right, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, data becomes information when it is processed, organized in structures. And when we do it processed, organized, and make it a structured way, then it becomes more meaningful. And when it becomes more meaningful, then you can derive more insights out of it. And that insights will help you to make the decisions easy. So ultimately, what the data converted into information will help you. The information is more of processed, organized, and structured data which has got certain meaning associated with it. And with that meaning and the structure and the processed information, you can derive certain decisions. You can make a more informed decisions. Like for example, if there are 10 more entries. Okay, now if I want to see in Hyderabad how many developers are skilled in JavaScript, I can get that insight. I can make that decision, informed decision. I can say out of these 10 uh, resources that are available in Hyderabad, 5 of them know JavaScript. So that is a decision making that you are doing based on certain information. Okay, so the information will help you to draw insights out of the data and help you to give a proper informed decision making. That is the whole essence of it. So randomly saying, hey, if someone asks you how many in Hyderabad, if you don't have this, if you don't have a proper information. How many in Hyderabad know JavaScript with more than 3 years experience? Then you will just throw a random number, and that is prone to errors. Okay, so when you have a data and when you have the information in a tabular format that you have created, then deriving the insights out of it is becoming more meaningful, and it is very easy to have a informed decision making. Now, this is just one instance. We can take go back to our own example of e-commerce site where you are trying to find a t-shirt. Now, imagine during a month of October, November, and December, third quarter, now there is a Diwali and Dasara or any good festival comes up, and there is a lot of shopping happens during that time. And you can be based on that information, that based on the data that is collected by the e-commerce site, and that can be put into a more organized way to create an information, and out of that information they can make a very intelligent and well informed decision about what need to be sold during that time, what is the user wanting during that time. Okay, so in that way, data and information plays a very key role in making informed decision making. All right, so now just take this example. If you collect the data on the customer behavior, such as products they buy and the time they shop, you can use that data to generate information about their preferences and shopping patterns. Okay, two things, like what they buy and when they buy. Okay, so these are the things. If you know how many times they shop and what the products they buy, then you will be able to know their preferences and the shopping patterns, and this information can then be used to make decisions about the product development, marketing strategies, and customer services. So this is the essence of the data. This is so useful, and so much it creates a value add to the customers as well as for the business as well, in order to get insights about the data and make the decision making. All right, so the informations can be represented in various format. Now I talked about one way of representing in the tabular format. That is one way. Now information can also be represented in different formats, like reports. You can generate a weekly report, monthly report, okay, or yearly report stating generate a report of all the customers who bought a particular product in the month of January. Okay, generate a report. So in that way you will come to know much of the information related to that product using reports. And even the dashboards will say how many, what is the profits, what are the losses, and what is the annual recurring revenue or monthly recurring revenue. All that information can be got because of these dashboards as well. Okay, and then comes the visualization. So these are nothing but the like there are many tools associated with visualizations, like for example business intelligence is one of the visualization. Okay, so that is a Power BI, we call it, as it is a product by Microsoft. Even that generates a visualize, or Tableau, that you can utilize those tools in order to generate more visualization or visual representation of the data into a more meaningful information. So that is what we want to see how this can be achieved. All right, so understood guys, what is about data and what about the information? Are you guys clear with how they are different and what are the uses of them and how it helps in making a informed decision? All right, now let's jump on to understand what is a database. Okay, very key aspect here. Now you might be wondering, you understood the data and there are ways you can store data is in the database. Now understand what is that database. Database is nothing but a collection of interrelated data which is used to retrieve, insert, and delete data efficiently. So now imagine data is not always stored in databases. Okay, there are other ways to store data as well. Even your files like .txt file, okay, .json file, even that stores the data. Okay, that is fine. Even you can store the data in a .txt format, and that is also a good way to store a data. But there are certain shortcomings to it. there are certain challenges associated with the data stored in a text format, because when your application or the app grows, the user interaction with the data becomes huge, because there is a lot of traffic to your website, and lot of insert, deletion, update, these kind of activities happen on your file. So in order to ease, or in order to help robustly those activities of retrieve, inserting and deleting the information, you need what is called as a database. Now database is nothing but a collection of interrelated data. Like for example, you might have seen a very common example during your college days about a student database. What it contains, it contains your student name, university ID, the subjects the students has taken for that semester, and what is the attendance of that user during that semester. All this is related to a student database. Now what is this? It is nothing but a collection of student related data. Okay, that is called as a database. Okay, and that database is related to the student. Now at the same time, a skillsam database organizes the data about the how many admins are there. There might be instructors associated with skillsam data, because a lot of folks teach the courses on skillsam, and there are students that apply for skillsam, and what kind of courses are taken by the students, how many students have applied for which course, and what are the skills that they have gained during that time. So all this information is related to the skillsam related topic. Then this is called as skillsam database, because it is related to the skillsam. All right. So in the same way, there might be an e-commerce site which might be storing its e-commerce data, or a bank which might store the banking data. Insurance company might have its insured data, or the company data. What is the premium? What is the deductible? What are the limits associated with the insurance policy? And all that information is related to that particular insurance company data. Okay. Now understand that it is nothing but a collection of interrelated data which will help you to retrieve, insert, delete, and modify, and again operate on that data more efficiently. All right. That is the whole purpose of it. And it can be also used to organize data in the form of tables. Okay, that is the key. So whenever you say a database, it is always about tables. All right, because the database always organizes the data in the form of tables, like we saw it here. It might have, these are called the rows, this is called a row, and these are called the columns. Okay, verticals are called the columns, horizontals are called the rows. So this one row is related to the one particular user. There might be another row of information that might be related to another user. Okay, so always it is in the tabular format, and these are the column names. Okay, these are the column names, and each column has got its own data. All right. Now understand the next thing in database is DBMS. Now you might have seen this acronym a lot of times. DBMS stands for Database Management System. Okay. Now understand that database is nothing but the organization of a data in a tabular format. Okay, or a table format. Now these tables can be of different thing. Like in our example, if we take a student database, the student can be one table. There might be a teachers table. There might be another table related to exams taken by the student, that table. And there might be a results table, how many students have passed, failed, or anything in a particular subjects. You might have a table associated with that. So all these group of tables can combine together to create a group. Okay, and now when you are having more than one tables, then managing of that data is done through DBMS. Okay, DBMS is nothing but database management system. The main purpose of DBMS is to manage the data. Okay, so when you say manage the data, it means you are creating the data, you are creating the database, you are defining a database, you are manipulating, which is inserting, deleting, or updating the database, all these can be done, which is management of the data, can be done using DBMS. Now, the one solid example of this DBMS is, you might have seen MySQL. Okay, MySQL or Oracle 21C, or you might say IBM DB2 or Postgres SQL. All these are nothing but database management systems. They are called the DBMS. They are the products that are generated by different organizations, and they are called as DBMS. All right. So DBMS is a software that allows creation, definition or defining of the database, manipulating, which is adding, inserting, deleting, modifying, altering the database, is all done using DBMS, allowing the users to store, process and analyze data easily. So, and here you need to understand one another aspect related to DBMS is the tools that it provides. Okay, because DBMS not only provides a way that you can manage the data using the databases, but at the same time it also helps you with certain tools. It provides you with certain tools because it's a software. Ultimately, it provides you certain interface or the tools to perform various operations on the database, like creating, manipulating, deleting the database. Like it might provide a GUI, which is graphical user interface, to handle the data. Okay, that is can be done, and that can be done using a lot of these examples that I just quoted. And if you see here, right, if you see here, some of the examples are there, like Oracle MySQL, because MySQL earlier started as an open source. Later, Oracle acquired this database management system. MySQL is a database management system. Now it is a part of Oracle family. And there is also latest open source is MariaDB. Okay, MariaDB is again a kind of open source database management system that is available freely. You can use that, readily available. You can download and utilize them free of cost. And at the same time, there is a Microsoft SQL server. Sometimes you call it as a SQL server also. And this is also a DBMS that is created by Microsoft as an organization. Okay, it is a product of Microsoft. Then there is Postgres SQL. Again, this is an open source SQL as well, and it is also a database management system. And IBM has got something called as IBM DB2, and that is also a database management system created by a company, IBM. Now, understand that as we have seen, DBMS helps you to manage the data and also provides you with certain tools and interfaces, so that you can handle the data very easily by creating, manipulating, adjusting, deleting the data. And at the same time, DBMS also provides the protection and security to the databases. There are inbuilt security features associated with the database that you can utilize them in order to keep your data integrity intact. Okay, and at the same time it also provides for data consistency. Like for example, if multiple users are accessing the same page with the certain information, then every user is given the same data access. Okay, if they have provided the authorization and authentication, based on that they will also be able to see the same page. Like a solid example is like google.com. If you go to the google.com, every user, whoever it might be, if you search for certain things, they will end up showing the result page the same way. Okay, so what it means is, again, it depends on the geography as well. If you are searching that in India, it is different. If you are searching in US, because it is different, because they have their own CDN and all that plays into account. But to tell you the fact that the data consistency is the key, and that can be achieved using DBMS. All right, now if you, another example that I can give you is, suppose there is an underwriter in an insurance company, and if the underwriter want to access this set of policies related to auto insurance. Okay, now he or she wants to see the auto insurance policies issued for a particular month of January 2023. How many policies have been issued in the state of Karnataka? Okay, now if you want to see that, The same underwriter, like for example, if he is Ravi is able to see the same details, and if it is Pooja, who is also an underwriter, if she searches the same details, she's also will be able to see the same results because of the data consistency. Okay, in case of multiple users, you will have the consistent flow of information, and that is made possible because of DBMS. All right, understood, guys. So far, any questions you have in related to the DBMS or database?
No, sir.
All right. And now, what are the applications of this database or the DBMS? So, DBMS is utilized in every field wherever there is a flow of data, wherever the data need to be stored, exchanged, manipulated, or manage the data, you need a DBMS. Be it in any vertical, be it in telecom. Okay, even telecom has got a DBMS system in order to recording calls made, network usage, customer details. All these information need to be stored in a database, and they telecom operators like Airtel or for that matter Geo, all that use the database management system. And manufacturing industry, like if you are manufacturing certain products and maintain a warehouse, like for example there might be a third party vendor who helps to provide certain parts to Honda or Maruti, and they have certain procurement of goods and also the manufacturing of those goods and selling that to the specific vendor partner. They all have to store certain information, and that also needs a database. And even the banking system, as I said, like for example, any banks will have a lot of information associated with it. Might have a customer information like customer name, ID, PAN card, and all that details, their account details, what is the debit and credit in their account, what is the net balance in their account, how many loans that they have taken. All these information can be tracked using the database management system. And even the sales. Okay, sales is a very vast area, and it is almost applicable for every organization. Okay, so if you are a SaaS company, there is a sales involved. Okay, where you are selling a software for business, small and medium enterprises, and you are selling a business, then obviously that software will have its customers, it have its information and invoices generated, and they need a database management system. And even the airlines, like all these airline operators, Air India, or for that matter you have other airlines like Air Asia or anything, and they also would need to keep the information or the data associated with the reservations or the flight schedule into a database, and that can be in turn they would require DBMS. And even the education sector, as we say, the student database, maintaining staff database, and all that requires a database management system. So in a net, what I want to say is, irrespective of what vertical or horizontal that you are in, every where there is a data being stored, accessed, managed, and manipulated, all that happens, and they would definitely would require the application of database management system. All right. And the next thing in order to understand is, what are the characteristics of the database? Okay, so if you mean by a DBMS, database management system, what are the key characteristics? One very important characteristic is data stored into tables. As simple as that, because DBMS utilize the database, and the database by definition would be storing the data in a tabular format which has the rows and columns. Okay, so data is never directly stored is into database, is stored into the tables created inside the database. So always there are tables involved. And the next is reduced redundancy. Okay, so what it means is, in the modern world hard drives are very cheap. Okay, now what I'm trying to say it here is, as we have progressed in a digital world, earlier a 1 GB of data storage in a hard disk was very costlier. Now you the hard drives are very cheap and very much affordable, which has increased the storage capacity of any devices these days, be it a mobile, laptop, or desktop. And that has solved a big problem. What is that? You are able to store a lot of data. But DBMS for because of that, the unnecessary repetition of data happens. Because there is a lot of space available, you are storing, like for example, if I give you one example, a image you are storing through a WhatsApp. Some person X sends you a certain image and person Y sends you the same image. Now your mobile phone is now storing two images of the same type, which has increased what? Duplication. Okay, which is unnecessary repetition of the same data. Because of the excess storage and easy of access to the storage, the redundancy or the excess storage of data has increased, and that has caused a big problem. But DBMS follows a normalization, which what again, what is this normalization? What is the one into and other forms of normalizations? We'll see that later. But now understand that normalization is a way which divides the data in such a way that you are not repeating the same thing again and again. So the repetition is restricted. So that is the reason it will help the redundancy. So unwanted or duplication of the information will not happen because of the database or the DBMS. Next is data consistency. So data consistency, as I already said, even if there are multiple users involved, everyone will be able to get the same data. Okay. Because they are accessing the same database management system where the data is stored and they are hitting the same table, so obviously they'll get the same information that is they are requesting for. Okay. Now supports multiple users and concurrent accesses. This is again a very important feature about DBMS, or characteristics of DBMS, which has increased its popularity. One is concurrent accesses, which means mu- because of the increased traffic to a certain app, okay, then lot of users will try to log into the same app. So login information, like imagine 10,000 users logging at the same time and accessing the same information. Okay. Now what happens? There is a load on that database, excess load on that database, and concurrent users are accessing the same database or the table for that matter. Now, because of this DBMS, it has become easy to support and manage that, manage multiple users and manage concurrent access to the same table or data. And that is done because of the DBMS. Now, finally, another key characteristics of DBMS is a query language, which is a structured query language, or the SQL. Okay. DBMS provides with the users with the SQL, using which data can be easily fetched, inserted, deleted, and updated in the database. Now understand that why we needed a SQL, another language to that, because SQL is another characteristic of a DBMS, where using this language you can work with the databases. And this language is very simple and it is almost universal, irrespective of what database management system is. The major clauses in SQL, we'll come to that. What is a clause, what is a select clause, where clause, and all that. But for now, just understand the syntax and semantics of a structured query language is almost the same, irrespective of what database management system that you are working on. Almost, you can say, relatable, not 100%, but it is almost equal, almost same. So a select star from a table is same for every DBMS. Okay, I'm just giving you one example of a structured query language, which is a data query language, which is DQL, where we have a select statement. Select a star from table name is same in every database management system. So this has also helped to popularize the database management system because of the query language called structured query language, or the SQL.